This was a fairly significant large protest. And so the comments that we put out on social media as an organization about it being peaceful, for the most part, it was. It's the same as, I go back to the whole Black Lives Matter, total separate protests, but for the most part, it was peaceful. But in that event, still had a few minor assaults and we still had a pole basically put through the windshield of a police car. But overall, that was peaceful. In relation to the incident at the ledge, overall, it was peaceful, but we did have one particular incident with an individual that thought he would take a few punches to the heads of our officers. And that obviously had some minor injuries associated. And that's a concern that somebody thinks that they can do that. That is still under investigation as we took a lot of video in relation to that. And if we can identify that individual that did that, that individual will be held accountable. But overall, just to be consistent, that was a fairly peaceful protest. I want to jump now to the tiki torches, which you've mentioned too. I mean, tiki torches, certainly I denounce that. I mean, there's no place for that. We don't have that evidence. Just because somebody says it's a racist rally or they're using something, you still have to have intent under the criminal code in relation to that. And if you have that evidence that I haven't seen, I will ensure that our people investigate it. But playing it out in media and trying to play one group against the other isn't our role. Our role is to try to stay, obviously, with the safety of the community, but our view is different than our role. I mean, do we condone tiki torches if that's the reason they're used? No, that doesn't make sense. It's 2020. But to sit here and say that we have racist rally, this particular one, again, I'm just trying to reiterate that if you have that evidence that you're saying is there, then we would love to see that. And I will assure you that we will investigate it. But it needs to be just more than somebody saying something on Twitter or social media.
It appears hate crimes detectives was at the protest. So if it wasn't, deemed a racist rally, why were hate crimes there?
That's why we would have them there, Rochelle. In all due respect, I think you answered that question. Is we're looking for when those thresholds are broken, so we actually can intervene and lay charges, as well as events like that. We gather a lot of evidence through many different ways, through public view, through video, through many different aspects. Because on those incidents, and as I referred to in relation to the assault on our officers, that investigation part is still going. So if we can identify who that individual was or individuals were that punched our officers, I think, well, certainly I shouldn't say I think, my objective would be is to hold them accountable and obviously bring them before the criminal justice system. And if that takes us down another path of the reasons why, where there's additional charges that could be laid, then certainly that's something that we will absolutely look at. But that's the reason we have them there.